Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday's Focus on Finances. My name is Jamie Fleming, and today we're going to talk about key steps to achieve financial freedom for women entrepreneurs. This year, we're focusing on women entrepreneurs attaining personal financial freedom. And believe it or not, this is a problem that a lot of women, even successful women, deal with even today. The last decade has been all about women breaking the glass ceiling and achieving greater heights, whether at work, home, or at play. A couple years ago, I was gifted this necklace, engraved glass ceiling on the front and on the back, symbolizing broken glass. So breaking the glass ceiling, right? And this is for some of the work we've done with women entrepreneurs and financial literacy. This actually hangs between my computer monitors to remind me how much work still needs to be done in this area. Today's women are champions of business. We're engineers, we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're sports persons, and more. Think of any male-dominated field, and sure enough, you will invariably find a woman at the center of things. When I started in the industry 30 years ago, less than 8% of all advisors in the US were women, meaning in a room of 500 advisors, there were only 4 or 5 of us out of 500. Today, that number is closer to 24%, which brings that number up to about 120 in a room of 500 advisors. I'm actually working with a coach right now whose goal is to bring that number up to 50%, which is really awesome. However, when it comes to personal finances, many successful women entrepreneurs still leave crucial decisions to men, or even worse, they just don't deal with them at all. For women to truly enjoy financial freedom, attaining financial freedom will play a key role in breaking the next big glass ceiling. So I've come up with a list of things that will help successful women truly achieve financial freedom. It's probably no surprise that number one, given that we did speak about it a couple of weeks ago on the business side, on the personal side, number one is still know your numbers. You can't achieve financial freedom with any efficiency without knowing where you're starting from. Looking at how much personal debt you have or your fixed monthly payments can be an anxiety-inducing experience. But if you want to truly become independent, you need to acknowledge the numbers that govern your lifestyle. Even my most successful women entrepreneurs generating millions of dollars in revenue in their businesses still struggle with their personal finances before we started working together. Here's some things you can start with immediately. Compile a list of all your debt: car loans, credit card debt, home loans, personal loans, etc. Calculate the aggregate of all your debts. If this is a big number, do not freak out. Next, compile a list of your fixed monthly expenses. This too might seem like a nerve-wracking and daunting experience, but it is vital nonetheless. Next, compile a list of your savings. This includes all investments. This is also a good time to include your sources of income that you might have from work, business, or other investments. Keeping track of these numbers is important, as it will take your financial dreams of financial freedom and bring them into reality. The next step is to set goals. Now that you have all your money accounted for, the next step is to set yourself some financial goals and lay out a rough plan on how to achieve them. These plans do not need to be set in stone, and you can make course corrections to ensure your spending plan is on track as well. Ensure that both short and long-term goals are accounted for. For example, saving money to study abroad in the next 3 years is a short-term goal, whereas saving for your child's education 10 years down the line is considered a long-term goal. Both must be accounted for. If you don't know where to start, as a rule of thumb, try and put at least 25% of your income into savings and investments. When in doubt, you can try my 50-25-25 savings rule. This rule mandates that you set aside 50% of your income on monthly bills and household necessities. 25% gets spent on things you love to do. Yes, we want to have fun while we're working hard. And finally, the remaining 25% is set aside to meet your financial goals. This can be adjusted, but the most important part of the rule, and the one that my most successful women entrepreneurs don't adjust, at least they don't adjust it downward, is saving 25% of their income for financial goals. If you find that after saving and investing 25% of your income leaves you short cash flow wise, to meet your remaining monthly expenses, you can take a look to see if there is any waste regarding your expenses. But I would also say it might also be time to give yourself a raise. Women entrepreneurs are typically great at setting business goals and hitting revenue milestones. With that said, personal finance, financial goals, investing, tax and estate planning, along with personal risk management, utilizes a totally different skill set. The next thing you want to do is pay off your credit card debts as quickly as possible. Debt traps are the number one reason that deprives individuals of their financial independence. If you have credit card debt that can be paid off, ensure that you get rid of it without further delay. Next time you go shopping online, which many people have done during the pandemic, or when we're able to go back in person to the mall, think carefully before using your credit card to pay for those things you don't really need. Credit cards generally charge high interest rates, and missing a payment can land you in serious trouble, not to mention that thing you're buying is actually costing you more, even if you bought it on sale. Believe it or not, women who are in higher income levels have significantly increased their level of credit card debt over lower income earners. This is such a dangerous place for women entrepreneurs, as you end up working harder and harder to maintain your lifestyle versus investing and accumulating well to support your lifestyle. I actually see women entrepreneurs all the time generating high seven figures in revenue in their businesses, yet their personal debts have been as high as $150,000 in credit card debt. If you don't have a personal financial plan and are generating high business revenue, it's super easy to become an overspender, thinking you can just catch up next month. Without an actual plan, this is a dangerous way to manage your personal finances. Before you begin your journey to financial independence, make sure that you've paid off all your credit card debt. The feeling of not owing money at the end of the month is a great one to have. Just make sure you've mapped it out properly, so you're also creating an emergency reserve fund, which is our number 4 on the list. The reason for this, if you're putting all your money towards credit card debt and then you have emergency, what's going to happen? You're going to go back to your credit cards. So you have to have that fine balance. So number 4, create an emergency reserve fund. An emergency fund is essential for unwelcomed rainy days, especially in the context of post-pandemic times. For our women entrepreneur clients, I recommend setting aside at least 6 months of living expenses into this emergency fund. Once you have accumulated enough savings, don't touch the money unless it's for an emergency. A key characteristic of emergency reserves is that they can be easily converted to cash, meaning those funds are liquid. When choosing investment avenues for your emergency fund, in addition to offering a good return, also ensure that you don't compromise on liquidity. Your money is useless if you can't withdraw it when an emergency strikes. For my women entrepreneur clients, having at least 6 months of emergency reserves gives them the comfort and confidence to grow their businesses, even at a higher level, since they're no longer worried about having a bad month, which seems to happen less and less with just the existence of an emergency reserves fund. So what you want to do with the emergency reserves account as well is have that separate than your checking or other savings. This needs to be an account all on its own, so that you don't confuse it and use it for something and then have to need it for the emergency. Number 5 on the list is insurance. While one may plan for various financial goals in their life, an unseen medical emergency out of nowhere can cut a big hole in one's pocket. This could hamper one's financial plans if this is not accounted for. Purchasing the right health insurance is another important step towards financial freedom. And just as important, understanding what is and is not covered, as well as copays and deductibles, so you can account for your portion of any medical expenses that may arise. Setting up flexible spending accounts or health savings accounts plans so you can have pre-tax contributions for these costs is also super helpful and efficient, and could lower your taxable income. This not only saves you from unexpected expenditures in emergency reserves, medical emergencies, but it also gives you peace of mind. Ensure that you compare various health plans before buying one, so that you get the one that's right for you, that fits your needs and the needs of your family. Other insurance to consider that most entrepreneurs don't get until it's too late or too expensive is disability insurance. If you're running a company that requires your hands-on expertise to function, an unforeseen disability can not only put your business in jeopardy, but if you're the revenue generating engine of your company and you cannot work, then your income could be shut down just as quickly. So many of my entrepreneurs only think of permanent disability, and let's face it, who wants to go there? But short-term disabilities happen all the time. I went on bed rest unexpectedly early in my pregnancy with twins. Literally, my ability to generate income halted on a moment's notice as I had to go into surgery, and then I was on bed rest for 3 months. This was considered a disability due to being a high-risk pregnancy, and it actually allowed me to use my short-term disability benefits to bridge the financial gap of not earning additional revenue for a while. It also saved me from having to tap into my investments. If your ability to generate revenue requires you to use your hands and you fall and break your wrist and shoulder, you could be out for 6 months or more, not including physical therapy. This is a real life example of one of my entrepreneur clients. Luckily, she had a policy in place to replace 60% of her revenue and 60% of her income, which is why her emergency reserves also came in handy to help supplement her income. These are not the dramatic situations that people think of, but actually more common occurrences that put business owners, especially, in financial jeopardy. Number 6 is retirement planning. Another factor that is ignored by many while planning their finances is retirement. Often people believe, especially entrepreneurs, that retirement planning can be left for the latter end of their working life. Yet many don't realize that starting early has many benefits, and the power of compounding ensures that your investments grow over time. We use this example often. Assuming you're paying yourself $100,000 in income, saving 10% of your income for 20 years, and let's just assume 8% return on average, you'll accumulate about $494,000. Saving 25% of your income for the same 20 years, assuming the same 8%, you'll accumulate over $1.2 million. Now that's financial wealth building at its finest. Saving early on for retirement can save you from a lot of hassle and stress later on in life and ensure that you enjoy your hard-earned wealth. It is important to chart out a plan, start investing early in one's working life. For women entrepreneurs generating high revenue and paying themselves well, this is even more critical and essential to utilize retirement plans available to you within your business, to strategically utilize revenue from your business as a tax planning and tax deduction strategy to transfer business equity to grow your personal wealth. We can help you with these different strategies. And then number 7, last but not least, knowing which investment avenues to take or whether your financial goals are on the right track can be easier said than done. Taking financial advice from someone you trust can make a big difference on your journey towards financial independence. After all, financial independence is not just about having the funds, but also being able to make sound financial decisions in times of trouble. Having a fiduciary as a financial planner and advisor in times of need can save you both time and money. Don't let your focus on your successful business override the necessity to focus on your personal finances. If you're too busy to do both, then ask for help. Asking for help can be one of the wisest decisions you make as a successful business owner and entrepreneur. Lastly, women today are waking up to more financial responsibilities than ever before. As women, we're beginning to play a more vital role in leading major walks of life. It's a very important responsibility for us to know how to save, how to invest, and how to secure our financial future. Mastering financial freedom will be the truer enabler for individual freedom. If you have questions or just don't know where to start, schedule a complimentary consultation with us as soon as possible. We'll put our scheduling link in the comment section as well in our weekly emails going out here on out. Thank you everybody for joining me for this week's Friday's Focus on Finances. Have a terrific weekend and we'll see you next week.